It's pointless me getting on camera, so I'm just going to stand next to you.
Sit down.
Sit and then.
Get us thing.
It's all right. No. You rest your pretty little legs.
Are you sure?
Yeah. It doesn't. I don't need to be on camera, but I'll just stand next to you. October Red Boxing with Ben Shalom. It's been a minute. You keep on avoiding me. You do.
You know what? You do. You do the longest interviews, but I like it. I like them. I've got. Are we gonna do a? Yeah, I've done. Have I done half an hour with you before?
Not with me.
Has it not?
You're mixing me up with another channel.
You not do long. Listen, I've sat with you plenty of times. I'm definitely not mixing you up. No, it's good. I'm only messing.
First of all, we'll go back to last week. Congratulations for signing Joshua Buatsi, a fighter that I've always liked, and in my opinion is the UK #1 light heavyweight, despite several discrepancies from other people. Talk to me about Joshua Buatsi then, before we go into this card. Your decision to sign him, how did that come about?
Well, just like what you said, I believe he's the #1 as well, and I think he's going to do amazing things. He's not been active, and it's been difficult, and so clearly there was something breaking down way before we were even on the scene, and we just wanted to. Once he became a free agent, and he came to us, and he said, "Look, I'm receiving offers, and Top Rank, Queensbury, ourselves, so many," and everyone wanted him, and we just really liked him, to be honest. He's really intelligent, a great role model for the sport, and for us, we had to sit down with him and understand, why haven't you been active? Why haven't you been on camera? Why haven't you been promoting yourself? You speak well, you look good, you fight in such an exciting way that fans want to see you fight. Why? And so to actually understand that and listen to his answers and really get to know him, that gave us all the confidence in the world that he wants everything that everyone wants for him, and he's extremely dedicated. And it was great, because 12 months ago we'd have had no chance signing Joshua Buatsi. He's at a very important stage of his career where he needs the biggest fights delivering, and so it was a big moment for us. And I'm happy for him, because I feel like he feels like the shackles are off. He can be himself. He can fight regularly. He can really get momentum in his career. He can become a star. And he can have a lot of attention, and he deserves it. And so obviously it was a no-brainer, and delighted he chose us more than we were obviously going to want Joshua Buatsi, but happy that he decided we were a good place to be.
When you said that, you mentioned something there. You said the why. What was his reasoning? Like you said, why aren't you active? Why aren't you promoting yourself? What were the answers that Joshua was giving to you?
I've got to be careful what I say, because these things happen behind closed doors with different things. But ultimately, things were happening. He wasn't that weren't great, and you don't want to happen to certain fighters. And it was never. It wasn't something he wants. He wants to be active. He's a fighter. This guy started boxing because he was fighting all the time on the streets, on this and that. He loves fighting. That's all he wants to do is fight. So when speaking to him, it became ridiculous and almost ludicrous to suggest that he had any part of not wanting to fight. This guy is a born fighter, and that's why he's out in 5 weeks. He said, "Ben, if we do this, you need to find me an opponent ASAP. I want to get active, because of winning the big fights, I want to be fighting all the time." And that was one thing. The other thing around promotional stuff, he wants that. You saw it on the press conference. He loves it, and he enjoyed it, and he enjoys being center of attention now. And it gave us a lot of confidence, and we're going to see it. It reminds me of Tasha Jonas. She was ridiculed for siding with us. Had to put up with so much crap. She won Fighter of the Year last year, won 3 world titles, and he has thick skin. He's had to do something. No one's ever had a bad word to say about Buatsi before, so why do they all have something to say about him now? I think it's childish and petty, and I would never criticize a fighter. How can we criticize someone when we've never walked in their shoes? We've never had to fight our way out of poverty and provide for our family and our parents and our sisters and brothers and things like that. These guys are walking heroes that have to go and do what they do, and I would never criticize a fighter. It doesn't matter what they do to me.
I think the world of boxing is no one cares, work harder. That seems to be like a common theme. we want to see, and this is me talking from a fan's perspective, we want to see the fighters out, we want to see them active. And it's kind of like when you listen to the media and you see what's being said, and it's like, but you've been offered, like you said, the 1.5 million to have that world title shot, and then a fighter turns it down. You kind of like, you just look at it from the surface and think, well, why wouldn't you take that?
Because he's going to fight for world titles. He's gonna fight those guys anyway. And he wants it to be when he's active, and he wants to have a long career. He doesn't want to fight for the next year and not grow as a profile and not grow things. People listen to the networks and the promoters because they're the ones that talk, and they're the ones that we listen to, and they're the ones that we've known for years and years and years, and we just take everything that said is gospel. That's very... Promoters and networks very sophisticated. We see it in politics. We see it in the news every day. We're brainwashed by stuff that things are said, and especially when that's all we know. These guys are intelligent. They can think for themselves, and they know what's right for them, and they know where they want to be and who they want to be. And yeah, you have to understand much more than, oh, he was offered a fight. There's a lot that comes with that. There's rematches. There's 3 more fights, and yeah, people can say, well, what's wrong with that? Well, the point is, you're then fighting on somebody else's terms, in a situation you really aren't happy with, not just because of certain things. Some things he can't say, he's not happy with it, and he's going to get those opportunities. It's hard for his mandatory position, so he's going to he deserves to fight for a world title, just like David Light is fighting for a world title on Saturday night, and he's got the big fights with Anthony Yarde as well. And yeah, as I say, this sport is so full of hate, it's crazy.
I hear that, but when you're in a position, obviously Joshua's in a position where he's like, I can't say certain things, then the public never hears, like, there's his side, her side, and the truth. There's always something, there's a bit of grey area that we can never touch. So that's why I guess, the fickle boxing fans, and I can say to a point on one of them, we sometimes take things as at surface value. It's like, well, if it's that bad, why don't you just tell us what it is then? We're a little bit ignorant like that. Sorry, Ben, but sometimes we are.
Yeah, but even when he says something, it will be spun into something else. And it just becomes like he's not going to talk as much as other people. And he's not going to... It is what it is. Like, he doesn't need to justify it to anyone. You'll see whether his decision was the right decision in 12, 18 months' time. And just like the others. And that's all he has to focus on and care about. And, as I say, I'm not one for... criticizing fighters. I'm sure we're gonna have it. We've had it done to us. Fighters leave us. Fighters come. Fighters this. Fighters that. It is what it is. But yeah, look, it's all noise and it's all bullshit. And I'm just happy that he can get on, and I'm really looking forward to it because there's some massive fights for him, and I think he's going to surprise a lot of people. I think he's the one for me that can become box office, can become a superstar. Carl Froch was an incredible fighter, but no one knew who he was. He came to Sky, he did a couple of fights, and then he was in 2 or 3 fights, big fights, on Sky Sports, non-pay-per-view. And then he got his chance and made absolute fortunes that pale into significance anything else. So I believe he has that potential, and the fights are there for him to do that. And so as long as he's fighting regularly, and the casual fans are seeing him, who don't necessarily want to see him, but they're seeing him, that's when the dial can move, and I think that's what his aim is.
We talk about career progression, and I will put a timeline on it, because I've been having a bit of to-ing and froing with people on Twitter. His opponents recently announced. I said, well, that was the one that was scheduled to fight Callum Smith. Not a lot of people said much then, but because Buatsi's fighting him, there's a lot of noise behind it. It is what it is. He's fighting him come May the 6th in Birmingham. But when we talk about you as a promoter and setting out kind of like a career path for Joshua, when do you think that you will put him into title fights? Because I've kind of like said online, look, you've got to give him a couple of fights, then he should be on that trajectory, back on that path for world titles. Can you back up what I'm saying, or what's your view?
My view is he's going to fight the big fights. And again, it's a very old school view that we're led to believe that because he's with one promoter, he can't fight fighters on other promoters. We're not like that. He will fight the biggest fights possible, and we'll make it happen. And Anthony Yarde could fight, I'm sure, in his next fight if we want. And that's the biggest fight. They're there. Like, it's not so much is made of it, and that's where we all get caught in actually contributing to the sport. again, I'm not going to get it on a business level and deep level, but ultimately, if we decide, oh, because there's 8 promoters, say there's 7 or 8 promoters in the world on TV, and none of them can work with each other, and you can only fight this person if you sign with this person, and then the sport's going absolutely nowhere. So that would be very, very sad, and I don't believe that that's the case, and it definitely isn't the case. And we're going to work with whoever we need to. 1, but 2, he's gonna fight. Let's see what happens. There's a lot of talk at the time, then it goes quiet, and then in 12 months, everyone's like, oh, that was obvious. And that's what will happen, I tell you now.
I'm really looking forward to his career progression with yourselves. One thing that I will mention that you touched on, and, we were all there at Croydon Box Park, all happy, saw him, he skipped up on the stage. There was that hug, he had his theme music walking in. And one of the things that he said is now you don't have to download an app to watch me fight. And then literally strategically, I think it was less than 24 hours later, we get the announcement that DAZN is now going to be broadcasting on Sky Sports also.
No, see, you don't. I don't mean to be obviously rude.
No, say what you need to say.
But you don't. You just said it's going to be broadcast on Sky Sports. It's nothing to do with Sky Sports. DAZN could have got a channel in the first month. I can get a channel on Sky. It's an open platform. Box Nation's still on Sky. Premier Sports is still on Sky. I said yesterday, Babe Station's on Sky. It's nothing to do with Sky. It's nothing to do with Sky Sports platform. It doesn't change the numbers. It doesn't change anything. I don't want him. I like DAZN. DAZN are spending a lot of money in boxing, and they're doing great things for boxing. I don't want this to be about DAZN. It's not about whether it's an app or whether it's a stream. It's about the platform. It's about the numbers. Frank Warren doesn't advertise he's on Sky. He's on BT. BT have Champions League and this and that. They're a very big channel, fine, but he's on BT. He's not on Sky. So it was just, again, I don't expect boxing fans to know anything like these things and this and that, but it doesn't change. Again, I like DAZN. We actually work with them. We did Eubank Smith with them.
Yeah.
They're a great channel, and they spend a lot of money in boxing, and every time you think they might not, they do, and they obviously are very invested in the sport, and that is amazing for the sport. But obviously, I just think people don't really get it.
I mean, when you say that we don't really get it, it's still going to be coming through the Sky box. So I understand you saying that it's DAZN, but they're using the platform Sky to broadcast. So then it brings more eyes to both of them, and a possible a healthy competition with the two of you.
No, I understand, but what I'm saying is every channel in this country you can get on the Sky platform. Comedy Central, BBC One. It's what I'm trying to say is, first of all, when we first came in, we were told Sky Sports is dead. Yeah. It's dead. It's going. It's finished. Streaming's the future. No, pay-per-view's not the future. This and that. That was the whole message, and we were having to put up with it. Then pay-per-view's now back. Then Sky is now the best platform, and we're on Sky. But I thought Sky was finished, and now that's the best thing that possibly can happen. I mean, and then we all and everyone's, and again, I don't. It's like how I don't know. It is what it is, but people are. This is what politics is like. This is what news is like, and I don't want to compare the two, but people just hear what they hear, don't really understand it, and take it whatever. But it's just it's a completely different thing. It's Box Nation's on Sky, as I say. We have over 11 million subscribers, 100 million people on the website. Sky is Sky. Sky Sports is nothing to do with that, and every channel in this country has to be on the Sky platform, every TV channel, and you can do that. I could open a channel in the next month if I want to pay for it, and it'll be on Sky. Am I going to start saying come and fight on Sky? Fucking hell.
I admire your honesty, but it was something that I was going to ask because of the timing of it. The timing was almost deliberate. I mean, did you know that they were going to sign up with Sky?
Yeah, of course. But it's not signed. Again, did I know they were going to get a channel?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't expect. Again, I didn't expect Josh to talk about apps and this and that. For me, it's like Sky have an app, DAZN have an app, BT have an app. Everyone has a channel. It is what it is. It's more about the eyeballs. I think what he was trying to say is, and it was no disrespect to anyone. It wasn't about that. It was about he wants to just be on a big platform that everyone has. He wants to be on a channel that everyone has. That was it. And again, nothing to do with DAZN. DAZN is fantastic. For me, it's fantastic for the AJs, the Canelos, the guys that are bringing huge subscribers to their platform. We're a different model. We don't want boxers to bring us subscribers. We're bringing them. We have all the subscribers in the world. Our job is to try and make guys famous by being on our platform. DAZN are building themselves off boxers that can bring them subscribers. Both models work. Both models are fine, and they both complement each other. It's just different fighters need different things, and Buatsi needs, in my opinion, a different thing, because he's not Anthony Joshua or Canelo. He's not got that fan base. He wants to create it.
When you look at that, do you think you put some of the ownership on the fighter, that they have to be more outgoing, they have to really start to market themselves? I know you're not a fan of crossover boxing. However, when it comes to personalities really putting themselves out there, I'm not saying that they're to clown their little brothers or smash people's faces on concrete, whatever it is. But it's about also the fighter's got to take some responsibility in making themselves appealing as well to the audience.
Yeah, 100%. And it's not that I'm not a fan of crossover boxing. I just don't think it's boxing, because and sometimes it was advertised, sometimes a professional boxing. There was something. So that's all that was. I don't mind that. And as you say, they can learn a lot. And fighters, yeah, they're a business. Absolutely. And a fighter should have, just as he has an accountant and a lawyer and this and that, he needs his content team, he needs a social media team. That's what a fighter's job is. But obviously, if you can get support from your network that's going to put you in front of those eyeballs, and in boxing, it doesn't matter how good you are if you're not famous.
True.
Unfortunately.
True.
And that's why fighters want to fight in front of as many people as possible.
It makes perfect sense. We're going to move on. We've got Lawrence.
Last one.
Oh, yeah, go on.
If BBC One had the budget that we had, everyone would want to be on BBC One. It's just simple. If Channel 5 had the budget, everyone would want to be on Channel 5. You just want to box in front of as many people as possible. If the money's ticked, or the money's even 80%, then you know big money's going to come off of fighting in front of... How do people not get that? If I was a boxer, I want to fight on BBC One.
Because people genuinely see money first. I'm just saying.
And that money's good, yeah. But what I'm saying is, if money's the box is ticked, then it's a no-brainer. Do you understand that? So if this channel is offering me X, this channel is offering me the same, and this channel is offering me the same, and maybe even 30% less, you're gonna want to box on the biggest one. It's always the case in boxing. It's all, especially for someone, as I say, that isn't a Canelo or a pay-per-view star or this. And again, not knocking any model whatsoever. All the networks are doing so much for the sport right now. It's amazing that they're all competing. It's amazing that they're all spending money. It's amazing that we're able to change lives. Like Callum Simpson, who was working in a closed store 3 months ago, now can go full time in boxing because of the competition, because of the money that's going into the sport. It's good. There's just so much bullshit as well that surrounds it.
Unfortunately, that comes with empires. We have got Laurenciccoli making his debut on Boxer. How does that feel? First we know we've got Natasha Jonas, first male world champion. Yeah,
there's not many as well in this country, so yeah, so happy. It's been such a long road for him in particular, so yeah, really glad that he can make his debut. I think it's a tough fight, slightly nervous when you've been out of the ring that long against a guy that's seriously tough and has earned his place and is ready to go and thinks he's going to win. So yeah, there's nerves. But yeah, obviously delighted to finally get over the line, because the fights are there, the unification's there, the monster fight with Mr. Riatpour, who's delighted more than anyone that Okoli came over, so that he gets his chance to show why he believes he's the best cruiserweight in this country. So yeah, big nights to come. But yeah, obviously Lawrence again, really happy. I'm really happy I love Shane McGuigan. I think he's an unbelievable trainer. We have so many fighters with him. But if he wasn't with Shane, then I would then Sugar's the best option, because I get on with Sugar really well. I know him really well, and he's always helped me, and he's obviously got Ben Whittaker as well, and I went to see him in Miami last week, and a couple of weeks ago now, and yeah, I think it's perfect. It's going to be different and it's going to be awkward because they're changing styles and they're two very different trainers, but I think it could really work. So let's see what happens. But yeah, I think he's made a good decision, having had to part with Shane. I think this is a good decision after that.
How long do you think it's going to take to build the Riyadh fight?
I think it will happen this year.
And finally, that's what I wanted to hear. That's good, because us fans want that fight, us British fans. Fraser Clark, what are you doing with him? Because he wants titles. He's going in against a good opponent. I have no doubt about that. There's a bit of toing and froing on Twitter, even as we speak. Fraser and Fabio Wardley. Fabio Wardley's got a target on his back now because he's got the British belt. It's not personal, but when do you think you could make that fight, if possible?
Again this year, I think 2-3 fights, Fraser will be fighting for the British title. He believes he's miles above this level. And he's slightly offended that people don't understand that. But he's got to prove it. This is a professional game. It doesn't matter what you've done in the amateurs. This is a different sport. Fair play to Fabio Wardley, because he's come out of nowhere and to do what he did against Nathan Gorman, who's a top fighter as well. That was really impressive. I'll be honest, I thought Nathan would win that fight. I thought he was a better fighter and was going to show his level. But yeah, for a white collar original fighter without the amateur pedigree to do that, I think he's done really well. He's definitely a success story. But Fraser Clark will believe that he's levels above that, he'll believe, and it will be great to see. And it's good we now get some new domestic heavyweights coming through. It's going to be an exciting future with those two, and there's more. Jamie TKV, I still think Cash Ali's got a bit to offer, and I'd like to see him back. David Adelaide. So there's some nice young, hungry heavyweights coming through. A couple more in the amateurs that we can got our eye on, that we think will turn over soon. So it's exciting to see, 100%.
We like that. If we had more time, I'd ask you who you got your eyes on. But listen, Ben, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for taking the time to speak to me today and not run off.
No problem. No, it's good. Good to see you as well.
He said 5 minutes, but I got more than that. Hi, and thank you for watching October Red Boxing. Like, subscribe, and tap the bell for notifications. You can also find us on Instagram at October Red Boxing and on Twitter, October Red UK. And remember, at October Red, we stay ready.